Welcome to Power Heroes webinar today. We'll jump right into it since we're recording this. Anyone who arrives late can always refer back to the recording. So thanks for being on time. Power Hero, as you may know, it currently has a live equity crowdfunding raise on Net Capital. So we invite you to learn more, invest today. It won't be open forever, so don't miss out. The purpose of today's webinar is to provide investors and shareholders with detailed insights about the business model and market opportunity. And about halfway into today's program, we'll open the floor for questions from the audience. So get ready to ask your questions, but instead of using the chat feature, please use the Q&A button at the bottom. So this isn't intended to be a detailed presentation on Power Hero. For that, you should check out their offering page on Net Capital, and I'll drop that in the chat just in a moment. So today, I'll be introducing Mr. Esmond Goey, the CEO and founder of Power Hero. He is also the author of over 10 patents, 6 of which are in this company. And it's really the foundation for Power Hero, he would say. He's also previously founded other successful companies. And with that, I will turn it over to you, Esmond.
Okay, thank you very much, Abby, and thank you all of you for attending this webinar. I see that some of you have been here before, so really appreciate your continuing interest because that's very critical to a successful campaign. Because if you're interested, I'm sure you start thinking about your friends, and you always want to have your friends participate in something that's great and awesome. But the reason we have these webinars is really to give our investors and our audience a chance to get to know us, because in my experience as an investor, venture capitalist, and it's always a must for me to meet the people that I'm investing in, and this is a chance for you to get to know us, to see that we're actually real. We're not AI generated. You know, I'm here, so it's not a fiction of your imagination. And so before I turn this over to Rob, I just want to give you a little bit of background as to about our organization, about why the people that you see are involved. Starting a business is very easy. You just file an application, you get a C Corp, but it's developing the company into something great. That takes a lot of effort. It's been years now since we could get to this point. We have a lot of challenges. And the one thing that I, as an investor, always look for is the team. Which is the team? What is the team made of that I'm investing in? And we have to deal with 2 critical things: the strategy of the company and the operations of the company. Now, we laid the strategy a few years ago, and that is to build a company based on strong IP, strong technology, because strong technology will always give the company a good advantage, and it's a good secure foundation because things change in the world and we have to adjust. And so the technology that we have developed in terms of patents are very, very, it's very efficient and quite broad, so that it covers a lot of potential changes in the industry. And in terms of people, we need people who are able to think strategically and also be able to lead operations. And in that regard, I'm so pleased to have recruited Rob as a co-founder, because this guy is not only an ex-Navy lieutenant, so don't get him upset, okay? But he's an excellent leader, and his most recent endeavor, I think, was the O2 Concept, where he was the CEO of a turnaround, and he literally changed that industry of breathing equipment. And he caused the industry to pivot and adopt his way of doing business, and he created a new genre of breathing equipment that uses Internet of Things, IoT, and that's what we need. And at this stage now, we need to commercialize Power Hero, and I'm so pleased to introduce Rob, who's leading that effort as our Chief Marketing Officer. Rob.
All right, thank you so much, Esmond. I'm going to share my screen. Give me a minute here. And what I want to talk about today is I want to talk about like the question everyone has is like, okay, you have a great patent, you have a great team, great products. How do you make money? So we're going to really get to the point today and talk about how we make money, how that plan is going to work, and how this team's going to execute that plan. So first, if you're new to one of these presentations and you haven't taken a deep look at Power Hero and what we do, I'll quickly go over our primary solutions. Our first two solutions we're launching to market. The first one is POWERPAC. It's our flagship product. It's designed to work on any normal 120-volt circuit, anywhere you can get lighting and bank power and give drivers up to 100 miles of range a day. And this is designed to operate primarily in people that live in apartments, multi-unit residences, and in dense urban areas that are kind of left out, that have no solution for charging at home. And then our CAMEO product, which can network any unnetworked charger out there and allow it to be found on the cloud, reserved, and transacted. And a little bit more about these products. POWERPAC, it's you can easily install it on any 120-volt circuit. You don't really need to retrofit any of the existing electricity behind the walls. That really reduces the cost of installation. Also, when you're, especially in charging superchargers, you have to work with utility companies, potentially, get them to install a new transformer to support some of these large power loads that come in. But POWERPAC is designed to just work on any circuit and store power for up to 12 hours. And that allows you to, get up to 100 miles of daily range as a commuter, because I can leave my parking spot. POWERPAC will bank all that power while I'm gone. And when I get back, it dumps it back into my car at a 240-volt rate. CAMEO, it's designed to connect any of the existing, millions of unnetworked chargers out there on the market right now, whether it be private or public, primarily focused on level 2 charging. It has a cloud-based backend, but it allows people to see these chargers, which are primarily unseen in the marketplace. It allows you to reserve them, see if they're available real time. And on the back end, it's really user-friendly for people to set up transactions, provision it for certain users. So as an employer, I could potentially hook one of these up to my existing chargers in the parking lot, let my employees use it during the workday, and then after hours, make it available for the general public for a fee. And so it can turn any charger you put up into a revenue-generating charger. So let's talk about our plan to roll this out. So our partnerships with city are going to be very key to our rollout plan. Adoption by the cities, that gives a new company like us credibility. It validates that there aren't going to be any permitting issues for anyone picking up our technology. And it also gives us good visibility. And it's the visibility we want, especially with developers, who are putting up new complexes, retrofitting old ones, business owners who are out there that are primary target. They're very key to what the city is doing. And so it's key to picking up CAMEO and, helping jumpstart our POWERPAC business. It also lets us market in a pretty tight area. So when we go after a city, pilot in a city, put the product up in public places, we can then market within that city, a very tight area, and then, push the product out to more the consumer level, the homeowners and the EV drivers. Our plan to roll out within the cities, we already have our 3 pilot cities lined up and with the agreement signed. And one of them is, when you look at the types of cities, you have major metro areas, tier 2 cities that are about 100K to 500K in population, and then the tier 3 cities, which are a little bit smaller. So we have 1 tier 2 lined up and 2 tier 3s. And then using Kurt Pringle, one of our board members, and his extensive government experience, we're going to get lots of introductions. And our initial plan is to expand after those pilots into 25 of the smaller tier 2 and tier 3 cities in Southern California, primarily focused on LA and Orange County, where we're going to have anchors with our initial pilots. Then, we are going to start the process of, trying to bag the elephants and getting 3 major metro areas within California. Again, relying on Kurt's help. And then after that, after we get all that traction, credibility, and, continue to push on marketing, we're going to, starting at the end of year 2 through year 4, start to expand nationally and do this model in 25 major metro areas throughout the US. And
Rob, let me, if I may just interject, because I think they might miss this point, is that the 3 pilot cities that we have are part of 2 very large counties in California.
Yep.
The Los Angeles County and Orange County. And these two counties in total represent about 38% of the EVs in California alone. So just imagine this, the cities belong to these counties. So it's a natural segue for us from one city. If a city of Orange County validates this, you can just imagine that this opens us up to that county in total. And we're talking about 120 cities, okay, in just these two counties. So the validity of these three pilots is not to be minimized. It's awesome. And it's all thanks to Kurt Pringle and Rob for getting us those.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this expansion plan, we're going to do with both inside and outside reps supporting these markets. And we also have Verizon support, which is very key because Verizon will sell alongside us. All of our products have cellular plans. And so Verizon's very interested in selling more plans. And so their reps are heavily incentivized by the number of plans they sell. And their biggest area for expansion is IoT. So, at Verizon, it's not just cell phone users, just about, every major business, government entity has a relationship with Verizon in some way, shape, or form. So they're going to be extremely helpful in getting us the introductions we need and, bolstering up our inside and outside reps to close deals. And then a very healthy investment in digital marketing, not only for brand awareness, but as we get into consumer sales, that's going to be primarily a digital sales path. And sorry, I don't think I advanced the slide when I was talking through all that. So that's all right. So, all right, let's look at the numbers now. So for POWERPAC, we are, estimating a fully landed cost before even our volume breaks at about $2,000 of POWERPAC. And so while that seems, pretty expensive, we plan on primarily incorporating a rental model. So the monthly asset amortization, only looking at 36 months initially, and we feel like we can amortize this for a lot more later down the road, but to mitigate potential risk, we're going to start with a 36-month amortization model, and that equates to about $55 in cost per month. And then we're going to rent this at a price of about, just under $140 a month. So that will be 60% gross margin to the company, a total 36-month revenue of just over $5,000. And we also are going to discount for people that want to purchase this upfront because, some larger entities, businesses, companies that have capital budgets, they may want to buy it all upfront. So we will discount for that, down to $4,200, and those sales will go at 52% gross margin, but be better for us on the cash flow side.
But Rob, don't forget, we get fees, subscription fees. So even if we sell it.
Yep. Yeah, especially for products like CAMEO, behind all of this are subscription fees to use the software to manage the devices. So yeah, other aspects of revenue that I'm not fully accounted for on the device side. For the CAMEO, and I am holding the CAMEO in my hand today, thanks to the engineering department. Marketing's finally got their samples to go out and show some customers as we're eager to get these pilots started up by the end of 2023 for our CAMEO. And fully landed cost for CAMEO is much lower. We again are expecting about $200 and some room beyond that to leverage it with some volume breaks. And that monthly asset amortization is going to be over 18 months at $11 at a monthly rental price of $28. Again, 60% gross margin business, 18-month revenue at just over $500 per CAMEO. And again, the ability to discount that if people want to purchase the CAMEO outright upfront. So again, the business model, we want to make it really palatable for people so they can rent the product. We will, have the right, risk management in there in terms of some upfront fees, security deposits against lost or damaged devices, and we will manage all that and expect we can execute on these numbers as we deploy the product. For our partners, sales and finance, I did mention Verizon, which has a great inside and outside sales department we will work alongside after we launch the product. And again, all of these products have cellular connections and, the ability for Verizon to be attached onto every charger, out there in the world is pretty enticing for them. And they really like what we're doing. When it comes to financing the more expensive POWERPAC and getting that out in the market, we have iBank ready to support us. And iBank is the California Infrastructure and Economic Development Bank, if you aren't familiar with California. And they were created to finance, infrastructure and clean energy projects. And so what they're able to do is come in and help back our financing needs. So a small company like us can get really good terms on standard lending for, things that are clean energy like this. And so iBank's very excited about what we're doing, but they can't really come alongside until we're ready to start buying the product from our suppliers and, getting the, initial assets on hand and getting the initial product ready to sell. But they're ready to step in and do that for us. And then we have our, city pilot partners, Seal Beach, Laverne, and Buena Park, ready to help us deploy the initial cameos in POWERPAC. And they're going to do that in their public buildings and parking areas. And that's going to help us get the ball rolling in those areas with developers, hotels, businesses, different entities within the cities that see that the city has adopted it. And we're going to, let the ball roll from there.
Rob, why would a business want to use POWERPAC?
Business want to use POWERPAC because, I've heard nightmare stories where businesses go in and install a lot of chargers for their employees, and they're level 2. They have to, spend a lot of money installing these chargers so you can get a lot of power to the chargers. And then the chargers just run all day. People know they're there. They have no way to, manage the amount of electricity flowing off them. And, their power bills come in and they're just astronomical. And they never expected it and totally got blindsided by it. The reason businesses like POWERPAC is it's kind of the reverse model of your apartment. If I want to do something for my employee, or if I'm an employee and want to work with my business to say, hey, can I put my POWERPAC at my parking spot at work? It's kind of the reverse model where I don't wake up to power in my car, but I drive to work and I leave work with all the power I need in my car because it's been banking, at my place of work, and I have it there ready to use for me. And it could be something the business can put open to the general public, for people that need to come in and get a quick 50 miles, off of a POWERPAC. That could be something they can sell. But the POWERPAC, because it runs off 120, it banks more slowly, and it only gives metered kind of single serving distributions of power, you're not going to get that huge surprise on your electric bill. You can anticipate exactly what a POWERPAC will dish out. So that's why, the businesses we've gotten feedback from so far have told us those stories and really like the idea of POWERPAC. All right. And so last slide I'll go over is, kind of some general points on our 3-year projections. We expect to deploy over the next 3 years over 30,000 CAMEO devices, 25,000 POWERPACs. We expect to be running at about a 50 to 60 million annual recurring revenue from the deployment of those devices, and be profitable in year 2. And by year 3, we also expect to be exceeding 30% in operating margins. So, those are the general mechanics behind our financials we expect to hit over the next 3 years with this plan. So at this point, I'll open it up to questions, and I can take the screen share now.
All right, great. Rob, there's so much great stuff going on. I really like to hear about your path to commercialization. It seems like you've got a pretty clear plan in place. One question I had, and I want to encourage everyone to get your questions in on the Q&A section down here. I'll have the first one. You've got a lot of focus on California. Do you have any international expansion plans?
Yeah, I'll let Ezra take that one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad you asked, Abby, because it was, I think, over the last couple of weeks, we're actually in negotiation for a license. I don't want to name the country yet, but as a matter of fact, we've had several discussions with several countries, including Singapore, Korea, Vietnam, Latin America, South Africa, and those are the ones that come to mind. And as a matter of fact, it caused us to reevaluate our projections and business model, because that is really a way for us to leverage our technology. We have such a big market in North America, in the US and Canada alone, that's going to just keep us so busy. But when you think about EVs and the climate change and all that, as you know, the whole world has to take part in cleaning up the planet. So as good citizens, we want to see our technology spread out as quickly as possible because we can't leave anyone behind. So the licensing is the way for us to help other countries and get them going. And from the discussions that I've been having, it can be quite ridiculous, quite substantial. And so I'm this is something that I did a long time ago, but this is entirely new now. But this is the mechanisms, this and you get to see what's happening in other cities, and it's very exciting.
Yeah, exactly. Esmond, and to your point, those country right licensing deals are pretty exciting, because it doesn't bog down our local team, doesn't require a lot of burn, and it's a good influx of cash, right away. If you find the right partner to do it.
And licensing also helps us pay for additional development because some of the things that we want to do in America may not be appropriate for those countries, and all these development will be funded by those who are taking out a license. So that's very key. And if I'm not wrong, we might see some licensing next year, early next year.
Right. I see another question here. Can you summarize the next steps in your path to commercialization? I saw you have a prototype now in hand. What are the very next steps? What's that look like as you expand?
Is that for me? Oh, I can take it. So
Take that one.
Yeah.
I'll kind of show the cameo
okay.
again. It's real. It's here. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about the team behind this cameo, and that's also again part of my opening is that you really want to rely on the management and just the whole team. And the lead engineer on this is a gentleman. His name is Steve, and he's had many successful product launches and product design. Actually, products that won awards and sold in the million units for Cisco. Cisco, I think sometimes when you watch CNN, you see a little thing up there and says Cisco provided the video conferencing or something like that. So Cisco is a big deal, and when you're designing communications products, it has to work. So knowing that we have this guy that's leading us the development. And he led the development for Cameo. That just gives me super comfort. And on the software side, we also have excellent people on the software side. With our lead software director, he designed the online system for city of Santa Clara, a big city in Northern California, and he's been involved in a lot of startup applications. So we're in good shape. So we've got all the areas covered, both strategy as well as the operational side.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the remaining action list, it's kind of Esmond and the engineering team, working down the list to get final product certifications on this and, get that going. And then we're also working with our pilot cities on nailing down exactly how many we're going to deploy Cameo wise in the different cities. And they're ready to go and help support us. So, I mean, this train's really tracking here for end of year, and we're pretty excited about it.
I might add that we've already started the prototype development for the POWERPAC, and we're actually accelerating that because the demand is just pretty fierce. It's we just get asked, when are we going to see it? So the proof is in the pudding. This is not something that Bob is going to be able to hold up.
Yeah, not that one.
But it's going to be a cool product. We're very excited. We're putting together marketing documentation for it. Hopefully, get that in Bob's hands so that he can use it in his marketing.
Yeah, I can put one back there instead of my guitar, Esmond. I can put a POWERPAC right there in the back.
I thought it was acoustic. Maybe it's electric.
Exactly. All right.
During your presentation, you spoke quite a bit about the hardware sales of component for revenue. But I'm wondering if you could speak also to the software element. And you kind of touched on it a little bit, but can you elaborate, please?
Yeah, so we will have different I guess different user levels for our software. So, in terms of, think about if you're a business landlord, hotel, or someone who wants to, use your cameos and, provision them and, kind of have more of a kind of a master user arrangement. We expect that we're going to sell some, software monthly fees, somewhere, just, south of $20, keep a one in front of it, but, some sort of monthly recurring fee, much like you would do for, a product like a, Peloton. You're buying a piece of equipment, there's a software and app, that comes with it, and, the users and EV drivers will have, some sort of very small fee, user fee to download the app. And, the actual owners of the equipment, will have a bigger kind of fee to, get on the cloud and manage and provision that. But, yeah, we'll have some, for every user on the platform, we expect to be able to generate revenue from that, and so there's also, of course, deals you'll make, pretty big deals where we may waive some of those or bundle it up and package it. Our anticipation is that we can, put a user fee or, software fees for users on, just about every product we sell.
Okay, here's another question. You talked about, why people would want the PowerPack, but why are cities interested in the Cameo?
Cities are interested in the Cameo because they are putting, chargers out in the world. They are investing in level 2 public chargers, putting them in different garages. And really, they don't know who's using them, if they're being accessed by the public. And that's something they would like to know. And, they may not choose to charge for it. They may just be interested, hey, are people using this or not? What times of day are they using it? And maybe it could be something they charge for if they're constantly in use and, in pretty high demand. The other, business case I thought was really interesting is, the cities are all moving to electric vehicles and electric vehicle fleets. And these electric vehicles have their own chargers. So they're used during the day, and at night they park and they plug in and then they go out during the day. So when they're out during the day being used, these are chargers that are just sitting there not being used. They could provision to the public. So it could be a situation where, hey, once that electric vehicle goes out, Cameo goes live, is available on the network, and anyone in the city can come by and use it. And that could be something they charge for in a certain specific period of time. But those are now, public chargers that weren't public, and more public chargers go on the grid immediately with a Cameo. So, the kind of underlying theme of Cameo is there's not a lot of public charging that could be made public and could be made available to the general public without even an installation. Just attach one of these and now the public can see it and use it. And most people don't need a fill up. Most people just like, hey, I'm going to go 20 miles today. Can I get 20 miles while I'm in this meeting, or, parked here, or having dinner? There's a level 2 charger. I'm plugged in for an hour. I got my 20 miles back. I just stay topped off, and, that's the normal use case. Not everyone's driving cross country every day. We're just in our bubbles, trying to get 20 miles of charge.
Yeah, and also, Robert, I want to remind the audience that the Cameo is reservable. So, you can reserve at the time that you want.
Exactly.
So.
All right, well, we are coming toward the end of our scheduled time here. So I want to make sure everyone who wants a question answered gets their question in right now. Esmond, one more for you. Can you talk about what investors can expect in a return?
Oh, that's happens to be a favorite question of mine, but it's also a loaded question. Well, I think I would point out the fact that EV charging is following along the path that the EV industry is taking. If you looked at all the hype that's out there, it's about, Tesla is going to be hitting $1 trillion and all that. But hey, as an ordinary investor, what chance have you got to buy a Tesla stock? I mean, it's you get one share. And how far is it going to go from 1 trillion to 2 trillion anytime soon? I don't think so. But if you look at EV charging is following the footsteps of EVs, because EVs that are growing so fast, they need more and more chargers to be in place. And so you can imagine we're being dragged by the EV industry. So EV charging, if I was an investor, I'm not going to say put all your money into it, but I think it's very hard to find any investment segment that has such exciting promises for knowing that there's a precedent, and the precedent is EVs. EVs need charging, so we'll just get dragged along, and Power Hero just happens to have the technology. It's not as if we just dreamt this up yesterday. There's been a lot of thought into this. For example, our patents include AI. We have AI that's already been and AI. These patents were submitted back 5-6 years ago, and nobody was talking about AI at that time. So if you think about it, we've been very strategic in terms of thinking about the future. So. I think this is a tremendous opportunity for people to want to invest. And if you talk, I digress, but in terms of the returns you can expect, and I can't make any promises, but I just point you to the EV charging companies that's already public. Take a look at them. And is any of them making money? No, they're not making money, but investors are, because their stock trading at multiples like 20, 30 times their revenues. So. Yeah, I mean, you do the math. I can't tell you how to do your math, how to invest, but I think we're the team here is all in. We got to this point for less than $1 million. How many startups do you know of that can boast that they use so little money? And the reason we use so little money is because almost everyone just wants stock. They're not getting cash. That's how we managed to stay so lean. Sorry that took so long.
Not at all, not at all. We have a question from the crowd, which is what will be the manufacturing plan for company and licensees?
Yeah, let me take a quick crack at that. But Rob actually has a lot of experience in this too, because you used Arrow, didn't you, Rob, in your last company? Was it Arrow?
We used Arrow, a lot of battery.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we plan to do the same. We actually have started working with Arrow several years ago, and Arrow is a multi-billion-dollar company in contract manufacturing. If I'm not wrong, they may be the largest contract manufacturer, but I don't want to say that for sure. But they're big enough for us, and they are all over the United States. So our plans, and we've discussed this in a high level, is for them to stock our cameos, our products wherever they have presence, and that way we avoid having to ship any products from a central location. We just drop ship locally, and that saves us a lot of money. And also they have assured us that we're going to get good credit terms, and that's just great for investors, because that means that we don't dilute the shareholders. Did I answer all the questions, or was there another one? Or was there something about licenses? What was the question about license?
The plan for manufacturing for licensees, I believe it was.
Oh, that is a little far to answer right now, but there have been discussions, and most of the people that have raised the question of licensing want to manufacture it themselves, because the countries all have incentive programs for companies that invest into EVs and EV charging. And along comes with it, it's always jobs. So they all want some local manufacturing, and I'm happy to let them do their own manufacturing.
Oh, very good. Well, we are getting to the end of our time here. Rob, was there any closing remarks that you wanted to make sure to include? I'll just drop this link in the chat one more time. Make sure to check out the live equity crowdfunding offering right now on Net Capital. It's not going to last forever.
Well, let me just quickly close then. I think, first of all, thank you for all of you who've taken the time to join us. I know it's time is so precious, and it's precious for all of us, and I really appreciate you all being here today, and especially those who have been to our webinars before. So let me just close by saying that if you look at successful companies, timing is very important, and the timing, by that I mean you have to look at the situation and say, is the technology in place to do what this company wants to do? And I would submit to you that it is. Battery technology has improved so much that's why Tesla was possible. And wireless technology has improved. And also now there's AI. So all the technology, there's so much technology on to make this company successful. The second important thing is to make sure that there's support across the board in the industry. And that support comes from the United States government. The Biden administration talks about 500 billion, I think, or something like that for charging station. That just drives the industry. So I don't know of any other industry that can say that I've got the government behind my back. And the third thing is, there's no point pushing products and solutions when nobody's heard about it. Well, everybody knows about EVs. They know that we got to have an EV. Our lives depend on it. So put all the things together. I think you'd be missing out if you don't join us on this exciting journey. And I just hope that you will click that invest button and help us get on our way so that we can make this planet cleaner and welcome you as part of our leadership. And so finally, thank you very much for all attending.